So glad to have you with us here. You know, after Dr. Christine Blasey Ford's testified on Capitol Hill this week, there were calls to the National Sexual Assault Hotline that shot up more than 200%. Executive Director of No More is with us now, Tracy DeTomasi. Tracy, thank you so much for being with us again. And I just want to explain to our viewers, No More is a public awareness campaign focused on ending domestic violence and sexual assault here, just so you know. I want to listen with you to a moment in this hearing with Dr. Ford that I think struck people more than most. Let's take a look.
In the hippocampus is the laughter, the uproarious laughter between the two. And they're having fun at my expense.
She had been asked, what is your most vivid memory? And she couldn't get the laughter of the fact that somebody was on top of her as they were laughing at her. Why do you think, or do you think that was the moment that struck a chord for so many people?
I think that when sexual assault survivors process information, they often realize that they forget a lot of information, and yet they focus in on the details. And so those specific details, that laughter, sometimes people focus in on an object in front of them, and they remember those details. So I think for a lot of sexual assault survivors, they recognize that as a very common trigger that they have and a memory that they might have of the assault that they experienced.
And just listening to her say that would trigger what we hear from the National Sexual Assault Hotline, that more than 200% their calls went up on Thursday. This was just on Thursday.
Yeah, I think with that and just the news headlines and the news cycle right now has been very triggering for survivors. At No More, we've experienced a huge uptick in our social media presence and downloads to our toolkit online. And it's because anything can remind a victim of the trauma that they experienced. And that's all it takes, is one memory, and it brings them right back to the situation that they experienced. And they have all of those fears, all of that anxiety, and they're right back to that situation.
So when we talk about where we go from here, I want to listen with you too to something that Senator Leahy said after he read about the uptick in calls to RAINN, to the organization. Let's listen.
When survivors see us taking sexual assault seriously, they're empowered to come forward. If they see us callously sweeping it under the rug, I fear they'll have disastrous consequences. If victims think they'll never be believed, or will not matter even if they are believed, then why come forward at all?
How much does what we're watching in the Senate Judiciary Committee, and how much does this appointment mean to women who have suffered this way?
I think that we've seen that this is a really big deal for survivors in general. And it makes them realize, are they being believed? And I think that they're demanding, survivors are demanding to be believed right now, and that's really important. But we have so much education to do around the experience of survivors and the characteristics of an offender and the culture that supports sexual assault. And it will impact people coming forward and how their friends and family talk about this case and talk about survivors as it relates to this case. And it will prevent people from coming forward who haven't already or haven't experienced sexual assault yet. And if they experience in the future, it may change who they go to and if they stay silent. But I think it's also empowering survivors to come forward and to start to deal with their trauma and to be a voice and to make sure that their voice is heard.
Tracy DeTomasi, thank you so much for being here and helping us, you know, kind of understand the impact of all of this. And we just want to put it out there that if you feel like you need help, you need hope, there is a phone number that you can call there, the National Sexual Assault Hotline, 1-800-656-HOPE. We'll be right back.